Hello, welcome to Scrap Time episode 1017. March is National Craft Month, and to celebrate, I have teamed up with May Flom from craftwithmay.com, and we're each going to show you a technique using gloss gel medium. So for National Craft Month, May and I decided we would each show you a technique using gloss gel medium. I used the Liquitex gloss gel, but you can use any brand on the market. And I decided that I would make some acrylic skins. That's what this flower is made out of, and I'm going to show you how to make the acrylic skin. But I'll just talk a little bit about my project here. I ended up spraying the background with the Liquitex acrylic paints that come in like a spray can. And I sprayed it through some stencils. And then I just drew on my stem and painted it. I used the skin and I cut it out with a die. And to get that texture in the flower, I just bent the flower and then used some multi-medium to glue down the edges while it still had that shape. And that just adds a little bit more dimension to the flower. And then I used my Create Word stencil just to add Create, and I wrote on Daily. And then I added some little sequins just for some sparkle. But I'm going to be focusing on the flower and showing you how to make an acrylic skin. So I have my leftover pieces. Now I put them on top of one another, and you see that it will sort of stick together. So if later on after you make it, if you don't want it to stick together, don't put it on top of one another. Acrylic is like a plastic, it is plastic, so that's why it has that sort of stretchiness to it, so you can see. Now this pink one, I made a lot thinner, and you can see you sort of translucent. You can see through it. Whereas this red one was a little thicker, and so even though parts of it you can see through, other parts are sort of opaque, and it's thicker. And I just put this through I used the Sizzix die, but because it's thin, you could probably use any die to cut it. And then I've got a couple leftover pieces. You can see it just cut perfectly out my little flowers. These were the leftovers from my project. So I'm going to show you how to make it. You want to make it on a craft mat or something that you can move, something that you'll be able to peel it off of later. And you take now you can make skins out of lots of different mediums. We're just using the gloss gel. So you put down a blob of your gel, and then you can color it using lots of different mediums. I'm using the Liquitex inks. I like to use these because they're very fluid, so it mixes easily into my project. And you don't need a lot color. Going to move that over a bit and put some blue on. And then I'm just going to sort of mix it up. Now if you just have white, if you have areas without color that's just white, that is going to dry clear. So if you want some of that clearness showing through, just have it without color. So you can see I had lots of green there. And then with your palette knife, you just smooth it out. So however thick, if you want it thick and opaque, I could leave it like that. But if you have it thinner, then it will be more sort of sheer. If I can see the brown, that means it's going to be really sheer, and it may not, it might rip there. So you don't want it like too thin, but it doesn't have to be thick either. So my blue sort of disappeared. It's more green, so you have to just be careful with how much color you put in. And you just like icing, you just smooth it out with your palette knife. And the thing with this though is from here you have to just set it aside to dry. You can't really heat it or speed up the process. You have to put it aside, and it's going to take a day or two. That's why you have to put it on something you can transfer around and put it aside. So I'm going to move this one. But of course I have one I had made. So as you can see, this one is a little more blue than that one I just made. So I'm going to get another palette knife to get it off my So you can see how it peels off. That's why craft mats are good to use for this. And this one is nice and thin. It has that nice sheerness to it. With some clear areas, I like that. And then it has a few other little colors in it that make it sort of interesting. So now I can take this and I can run it through any die cut and cut out some interesting shapes to add to my projects. And I'll show you just my final one once again. So here it is. So I can cut a flower or circles, or the sky's the limit, whatever you want to add. But it just gives you another way to use your mediums and your inks to make custom little acrylic skins. And now go and check out what May made at craftwithmay.com, or May's YouTube channel, also called Craft with May. And be sure to check out our website at www.scraptime.ca. And on our next episode, I'm going to be showing you some techniques using the Thermoweb iCraft Deco Foil. So please join us. Thanks for watching Scrap Time.